Hey everybody, I'm Coach Theo, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the new formation that we're going to be doing in U8. In U8, our league does 5-on-5, so that's plus a goalie, so it's actually 6-on-6. Most leagues at U8 do 4-on-4 with a goalie, but our league had more kids this year, so we're using 5-on-5. So the formations aren't as plentiful as leagues that do the 4-on-4. The formation that we're going to do this year is a 1-3-1, and I'm going to break that down. But something that I really want to work on is there's a couple different things here. One is bunching. So bunching is when all the players swarm to the ball, and it's basically a bunch of kids on the ball, and that's called bunching. And bunching's not good in soccer, because basically you can't move forward, you can't move back, you can't make plays. So we want to make bunching down. Passing is very important. Passing is the one way that you can get around the defense the fastest. So we want passing to be up. Dribbling is so important in U8, but if you do too much dribbling, then the defense is easily able to take the ball from your team. So we want to decrease dribbling and clearing. So clearing is whenever you have the defense clear the ball back up the field. So clearing is important whenever the defense has the offensive player coming at them. They don't have a lot of time to make a decision. But if you have too much clearing, if you just clear the ball to clear the ball, well, you're just essentially giving away the ball to the other team. So it's not a good thing when you don't do it at the right times. So we actually want to decrease clearing because we want to do more of the passing. So if you follow these steps, it'll equal more teamwork. And that's what we want. We want to teach the kids more teamwork. And what does more teamwork equal? It equals more goals. And that's what we want, more goals. Okay, so I'm going to break down for you the 1-3-1 right now. So the 1-3-1 here's our goalie right here. So it's got one player in the back row, and that's the defense. It's got three players in the middle. Those are your midfielders. And then you have one player at the top, that's your striker. Some teams call that forward. We're going to call it a striker. So the way to differentiate the midfielders we're going to call this left mid, we're going to call this center mid, and we're going to call this right mid. So when I tell a player to go play left mid, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So the reason why we want the kids to be in a formation, and I know it's hard for first and second graders to learn this, but as the season goes on, the hope is that they just get better and better. The reason why formation is very important is because it helps prevent bunching, it helps promote passing, it helps decrease dribbling, and it helps promote not doing as much clearing. So in general, if you don't have a player on the left side and a player on the right side, what you're going to have is situations where the players might all just be right here. And now you have all this room out here that you're not taking advantage of. So I'm going to walk through right now each position by themselves and kind of so the player can focus on the position they're playing. Because I think the easiest way to do this is assign the players positions to learn, so they can be experts at that position off the bat. And then as they get better, maybe they might be a better fit for another position. So I'm going to go through the positions right now one at a time. All right, so the first position I want to show is defense. And defense is probably, I would say, the second most important position on the field. The first most important position on the field is probably your center mid, because that player is essentially connected to everybody as far as passing goes. But the defense is the second most important player in the field because they're your last person to protect the goalie. So The other thing I want to make a note of is just because this position is called the defensive position, and as they move up, soccer calls them backs, so it'll be a defensive back. The midfielders also play defense. So let's start off with our goalie's down here. And to start the game, our defense player is right down here, okay? All right, so the area that the defense should only go into, I'm going to outline right here. Up here, across midfield, and down. And shade that in. So this here is the area that the defender should play in, right here. So if the defender could pretend like there's a fence around right here, that's where we want them at. You might say, well, why don't we also say they can go out here? The reason why is because it's one person. So if they did stray out there, we're protecting the goal. Not a lot of teams at U8 level can score from out here. All the scoring is actually going to happen in the big box. So that's why I would prefer the defender to stay in here, and we're going to allow the left and right midfielders to help defend down here on the edges, okay? All right, so that's the area that the defender can be in. So I'll show you guys some quick examples. So let's just say the ball is here. That's the ball, okay? Well, if the ball's there, the defender's just going to move over a little bit, and they're going to be right there, okay? All right, let's move the ball. Let's say the ball comes back here, and it's right here. Same thing. Now, the defender's going to move up. The defender should actually be right here. All right, so let's do one more example. Let's say the ball is all the way down in the small box of the other team. Well, that means the defender actually should be right over here. So you can see the defender is always even with the ball, okay? But the furthest they go, as I showed you on this chart, is right there. That's the furthest they go. But they also can back, like I said, when the ball's in our area, they're backing up and helping the goalie, okay? So that's the defensive player. Now, the other thing is, most people think, well, when the ball's on the offensive side, the defense isn't going to ever help us with the ball. That's not true. So when the defense moves up here, and let's just say their goalie clears the ball, he's right here. Now the defense is right here to pass the ball back in to our team, okay? So that's why he's there. Honestly, it's a waste. Like, some teams will have the defense stay right here in front of the goalie the whole game. Well, is he really on the team? Or is he on an island by himself? We want him to be with the rest of the team up here in the offensive zone, okay? The one other thing I'll say about the defensive players, they have to be fast, they have to have a strong leg. Because they will have to clear the ball, and they will have to run back and cover a lot of ground whenever the other team's on a fast break. So they really have to be fast, and they have to be aggressive. You don't want a defense person to be flat-footed and then somebody to just go right by them. So defense is a very important position on the team. So next I'm gonna start going through the midfielders. All right, so now to go over the center midfielder. The center midfielder starts off the game, as I said. They kind of start off the game right there in the middle of the midfielders, okay? The area that the midfielder should be covering, they actually, if you look at it, they actually cover almost the least amount of ground. They actually cover 1/3 of the field. So if you draw a line here, and you draw a line here, they actually just cover all the middle of the whole field, okay? So the midfielder shouldn't need to go on these sidelines, because we really want the sidelines preferably to be handled by the left and the right midfielder, okay? And sometimes the striker. So the midfielder is always in the middle, and like I said, they are in between every single player. So they have to be a great passer, and they have to be great at making decisions. So it's such an important position in the team, because they are the focal point. So the midfielder covers all this space, and now I'll show you an example. So if the ball is right here and the other team has it, the midfielder is going to be right back here because the striker is going to be guarding them. Okay. Now, if the ball let's say the ball ends up here. Well, now the midfielder's running up the field and they're right here now, okay? And then let's say the ball moves to this side of the field and is right here. The midfielder is going to move right to there, because the striker should be trying to steal that ball, or the right midfielder should be trying to steal that ball, and then we want the center midfielder to be out here available for a pass. So let me show you one more example though. Let's move the ball down here, okay? Down here. Obviously we want the right midfielder to guard that. The defensive player is going to be here, and then the center midfielder is going to be here too. So the center midfielder and the defense is going to be working together to protect that goalie. So, like I said, they cover the longest area of the field, but it's not as much area as maybe another position would be. So that is the center midfielder. Now let's do the left midfielder. Okay, so the left midfielder, take your left hand, and you're always looking towards the goal we're going to score in. So the left midfielder would be on this side if our goalie's down here, okay? That's how you remember what side of the field left is you're always facing the goal you're trying to shoot on, okay? So the left midfielder, like I said, will start the game right here, and you have to draw a dotted line down the middle of the field. And it's almost the opposite of this. It's this way. And the left midfielder has 50% of the field, but only on the left side. So this will be all their area right here. And the right midfielder, same thing, but he covers this side over here. So this whole side of the field's right midfielder, this whole side of the field's the left midfielder. These are the two, in my opinion, these are the two hardest positions to teach kids how to play. Because it's easy to tell them, don't cross this line. There's no such line here. So in my opinion, this is going to be the hardest thing for the kids to learn. And when they do learn it, it will help space out the field the most. All right. So let's show some examples. Okay. So let's say the ball is down here. Well, the left midfielder is going to be on the ball. Okay. That's their area. Okay. Now let's move. This is where it gets tricky. Let's move the ball over here. Here's the ball. Okay. The left midfielder is going to stop right there in the middle, right in front of that small box. And why are they there and the ball's over here? That doesn't make sense to a lot of people. Because we're spreading out the field so we don't have bunching and we can do passing and we have less dribbling. So if our right midfielder is over here, which they would be, and they steal the ball, they have one pass away for an easy goal attempt, okay? So the left midfielder, like I said, will stop here when the ball's on this side of the field. And then let's just do one more example. Let's just say the ball is all the way down here in the corner. The left midfielder is going to come down here and play defense on that person. Because once again, the defender, we don't want them all the way out there. The defender can stay here and protect our goalie, okay? So there's the defender and there's the left midfielder. Like I said, the right midfielder, I'm not going to talk through it. It's the same thing as the left midfielder, just on the other side of the field. But the left and right midfielders are so important to the team because they help space out the field. And a lot of times, the area of the field that we have the most room to move in are on the outside edges because all the kids are bunching in the middle. So that's where we're able to gain a lot of ground, okay? So now let me go over the striker position. All right, so the striker position. Strikers are the opposite of the defensive person. They have a lot to do with the offense of the team, okay? So the striker starts off the game here on a kickoff, and they literally can cover, we put a line here, it's like I said, it's the opposite of the defense. They cover all this. They cover more than half the field, okay? From that line back. Here's the midline, and they're in front of it, all right? So they're all about offense, but they also obviously are helping play defense when the ball's in the other team's side of the field, when the other team has the ball. So they can't think that, oh, I'm just here to score goals. You're also there to keep the ball over there, okay? So let's show some examples of the striker. So let's say the ball's right here, okay? Well, it just kind of depends on how the situation happens. So if the left midfielder is on the ball for us, it's our ball. We want the striker to be in front, going towards this side a little bit, okay, to give him a pass. And then the center mid's going to be here. So the striker's got to be very smart about not chasing the ball and try to be in front of the play. The way it gets tricky is whenever there's a loose ball out here. Let me show you one more example. So let's say there's a loose ball out here, our left midfielder's here and our striker's here. Well, that's where they want to probably take the ball and help us, because they do cover that area. So you really have to really look around and see who's around you in your area, because we don't want two people on the ball, because that'll create bunching, okay? So let me show you one more example. So let's say the ball's down here in this corner, and let's just say our left midfielder is down there with the ball. Well, now the striker wants to be right here available for a pass. There's our center mid, there's our right mid, and then there's our defense right there. So the striker, once again, is getting in position to try to score a goal for us. And then look, we have a perfect spot for two different passes here from the left mid. So the striker's got to be very active in this area, and they also have to be very aware of if that left or that right midfielder has the ball. Because if the left or right midfielder has the ball, they want to go in front of them, okay? So striker is very, very important. The players you want at striker are ones that are either good at dribbling, because a lot of times they might be in front of the play by themselves. You want somebody that has a good shot, because they're going to get a lot of shot attempts, okay? On my next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the 1-3-1, and I'm going to break down throw-ins, kickoffs, corner kicks. So where the kids should be during those different situations in the game when the ref stops the play, okay? So I really thank you guys for watching. What I would say though is you might have to watch the video a couple times, and you might also have to look at what position your kid is playing and really focus on that position. And maybe draw a couple fields out on a piece of paper and say, if the ball's here, where should you be? And then when we get on the practice field, we can talk through it with the kids also. But it's always good for the kids to see it and kind of say, I should be here on a piece of paper. It makes it a lot easier. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.